pros here. I highly suggest you getting very grounded and open to being challenged in this video, especially if you are a white spiritual person, okay? But even if you're not, okay, we're going to have a conversation about cultural appropriation. I think that was the term that we decided upon. And I'm here at the Lemurian Temple Goddess Temple. And I'm here at this spot I've chosen for my love bombs. And this is the previous love bomb, and it's a mess, which is also true of our white spiritual community. It's quite a mess. So first thing we do is clean it up. And over the last few days, I've gotten to participate in a couple of different ceremonies as I clean up the mess here. The first, well, we started the solstice at the labyrinth, and that was wonderful because it's like not based on any specific tradition. You kind of get to do as you will in there. It was very playful. Kids were invited in, and there were things for them in there to keep them entertained. And it was mostly based on fairies and angels, whimsical, playful, not stepping on any particular tradition, and definitely not pushing an agenda. Then the second ceremony was we thought we were going to a celebration of a birth, and just kind of some people throwing a party to celebrate the birth of their child. And we're here in Hawaii, and the crowd was mostly spiritual white people or hippies, and so this was a hippy dippy ceremony, and it was quite disorganized, unstructured, disrespectful of for the most part, of the Indigenous person that was with us to lead. And there was a beautiful flower altar, and then we came in and supposedly honoring the directions, but we weren't even pointing in the right direction. It was very rushed through. And then the water part really got to me. The first part was earth. We were at this one part of the land, and then we were going to go do a water ceremony. And first she had forgotten the waters, and then put them in a metal bowl, which waters should really be in glass, especially for a ceremony. And they forgot them. That stung. I grabbed the waters, but the waters were in the back of the procession over to the area where we were going to do the waters. And then a girl stepped up to bless the waters, she said, and she sang a song about Oshun. Now, I don't know how many know who Oshun is, but Oshun is an African river goddess. And we were putting the waters into a little man-made pond. Now, just for a minute, consider if you are the river goddess Oshun, and you have now been summoned to a land which is not yours, does not have your people, and you are a flowing river goddess, and now you are asked to be present in a man-made pond that isn't even full. how happy would you be? She wasn't very happy. I could feel it. The waters weren't happy. It physically hurt in my body because I was holding the waters as she was doing this blessing. And it physically hurt. I was in tears. And then she was like, you want to offer the waters? And I was like, nope, you blessed them. You do it. And then we moved on into supposedly an air ceremony, and we tied ribbons which were not biodegradable onto a tree in a way in which it suffocates the limbs of the trees. And there was more incidents that involve relationships, but it was quite painful to kind of watch. And then we broke for food for Kai before finishing with fire, so most of the people were gone and the container wasn't closed properly. So yeah, we've been talking about this and pondering. And then yesterday we went to a ceremony on Mauna Kea, as I find a red string as I'm cleaning out this area here. And that ceremony was so amazing and powerful. And there were these auntie grandmothers there that were super amazing, and got to witness what true Indigenous, feminine and masculine, there was the masculine there as well, ceremony and leadership looks like and feels like. I mean, so many of us, part of the problem is that we haven't hugged an Indigenous grandmother. And if you haven't hugged an Indigenous grandmother, shut up and go find some to participate in ceremony with before you think you know how to lead ceremonies. So it's a mindset of stepping back, not stepping up, stepping back and allowing, really considering first off where you are. Where are you? I'm here in Hawaii, so I don't come in here with my gods, goddesses, my peeps, guides, whoever it is that I'm working with, and try to impose that here. What I do instead is learn, invite the deities, the people, the wisdom, the names, to begin to speak to me. And that is done through developing a relationship. And if I have preconceived ideas and notions of what needs to be there, I'm doing nothing but what the previous colonizers did, of coming in and instilling my will onto the land, the people, the deities, all of the elements that inhabit the space already. And we set up wars in other realms when we do this too. It's pretty sloppy. It's rude. It's like going into somebody's house uninvited and rearranging the furniture. It's disrespectful. It definitely is not unity that recognizes, appreciates diversity. So I encourage my spiritual white peeps and others that think they, like if you have a particular tradition, but you're traveling through somebody else's land. I mean, got caught in the middle of some interesting encounters over on Maui where a Dene woman came over and wanted to do things on the Kanaka land, but weren't respecting the Kanaka. And you know, so this mindset isn't particularly colored. I understand that. But I am a particular color, so I particularly speak to my own people, or who's supposed to be my people, who I look like and I was raised like, and I understand because I was that blind, and I'm very grateful for the fact that I was led instead of, I guess it's my natural inclination not to lead, and I'm not competitive. I'm inquisitive as all get out, and a student and a half. So, and I absolutely love cultures, and so I don't feel the need to step up and lead. Most of the time. In fact, I have to be very much encouraged to do so. And it has to be in a group where I truly know that I have more experience. In this, it came up, with the land, right? I'm here in Hawaii and I don't know these plants. I don't know how things work. And it would be pretty irresponsible for me to come in and just start ripping stuff out without letting Kazumi lead that, right? She knows more than I do. She has more experience. She is rooted in this land. And so I also let her take the lead as far as the deities and working with it, and allow her to lead me to get where I can communicate with them. I listen to her. And I don't think that I know best. That's that imperial mind that thinks that everybody, I think best, and everybody else has the same experience as me. And so the same with the land. And as I'm working with it, it begins communicating with me too. But we've got plenty of places where I was having a conversation with a guy the other day. They had bought a place, and he had a shoulder injury that he's having to sit there and wait for these projects that he had planned. And I was telling him, like, sit with the land for a while, watch it. There's a canyon over on Turtle Island on the mainland that this man moved in, and without even being there a year, he changed the whole river flow. Like, how audacious and arrogant. And that is naturally, like, if we were raised in that culture, that's naturally how we are. We have to actually work at not being that way, at stepping back, stepping down. That leads me to this higher. We got to get higher vibrations. We got to get a higher level of consciousness. I would say instead, let's perhaps get fuller and more expansive, because unless we go deep, how high can we really go? I mean, we've got to be careful not to fall for these bliss trap bubble delusions, and realize that this is going to really take some work, some effort, some humility, and that's where. So I'm starting the process of building a little bit with some things that I picked up from the beach the other day when we were wandering, and we And instead of going for higher, we actually, in the blessing yesterday on Mauna Kea, it was about the above, in between, and below, and all the directions, but above, in between, and below. And we need all of those, and so many are going for this higher, and they're trying to shortcut the true work of and so many that are young and are getting these blasts of information are dismissing and not tapping into this the dedicated, devoted eldership. And it's challenging to find. Not all that are older elders, I'll give you that, but there are some absolute precious jewels in there, and we've already lost so many of our wise women, and that's why we're in the situations that we're in. And so beginning to really support the ones we have left, elevating their voices and their stories. I mean, that's what I'm doing here. Like, I sat in council with some elders, Indigenous elders, and they're saying, dude, clean up your mess. Clean up your mess. Go clean. Clean your house, clean your body, clean your environment, clean up your words, clean up your practices, and get strong, because this is just a time of getting ready. We ain't there. We ain't even close, really. This is just the point of the real work. And this is best done boots on the ground with elders. And you can find those in the Indigenous struggles. And will you have to face your shit and have to sit down and sometimes feel like you're totally on fire while you're doing it, because you're embarrassed about what you have been doing and how you've been acting? And instead of running away, you stay in it, and you truly then begin to learn, to remember. And we learn and remember to be respectful, to be humble, to be slow. We don't go for the shortcut. We don't go for the bliss bubble. We don't go for the escape. We go for the genuine, authentic, challenging integration, expansion, descension, embodied expression. As I sit here and finish up my love bomb for today, LOVE. I got 2 V's, so we're going to double that one up. And let's see. No, we'll do a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Got a mushroom here. And be like mushrooms. And take this all this shit, all this pain, misunderstanding, the stepping over people that really, really, really need to be listened to. The ones with no ego aren't going to work real hard to be heard, because they're talking and doing it regardless. As we're doing this, some of us, we're doing this. And we would love to talk to you about it, to deepen your experience. But you got to get where you can listen. You're ready to go slow. So, It's time to deepen and work on our dedication, devotion, purity. We've got to purify our conscious, purify our own experience, because we can't point at anybody else if we're not doing it. Our house has to be clean. Now, I don't have a house of my own. I'm houseless. I'm home free because I'm home everywhere. And that means every space that I'm in, I'm working to make it better than I found it. People and places better than we found them. And cleaning up wherever we are, wherever we find ourselves, wherever we are. Not just our own. That's the next step. First is cleaning up our own. Then we begin cleaning up like everything is our own, as far as caretaking it, caretaking the land, caretaking our brothers and sisters, nurturing. And those that have for so long held this down, we actually elevate them. And we don't go being messy and create more messes for our Indigenous brothers and sisters of the land to have to clean up. Because so much of their time currently is cleaning up our mess. We take our New Age trinkets and all of this that we consider sacred, and we take it to areas that is not where it's from, and it is not where it belongs. And we're like an invasive species, that they're spending more time cleaning up our mess than actually getting shit done. And it's time we stop and we begin cleaning up our own mess, and we begin listening to them about what they need, the people of the land. And we begin joining them and standing up with them and learning and listening. So that's my talk today. Here's our love bomb. So it's not co-opting any culture. It's not creating something that won't go away. It's just something intuitive, and using my native language. A lot of people have said use Aloha, Aroha, all of this, but English is my current language. I do utilize some of those other words because I've worked with them to really understand what they mean. You know, that girl using Oshun, it's not bad that she uses Oshun and loves Oshun, but really get into Oshun and use Oshun where her people are, and then go learn from her people. I've been in ceremony for Oshun, and I love her. And her waters of the Caribbean and her waters of Africa, I would very much utilize Oshun. And she's one of my friends, but I'm not going to invoke her here with the Hawaiians. These are not her lands. And her people aren't here. She'd be lonely. So really begin thinking, and assume that you are being culturally insensitive and inappropriate, perhaps, rather than the alternative, and look at where you can refine that. So, not sure how I'm going to get this up today because the sun's not shining, but when I do, and perhaps I'll be having some more conversations, and I'm very much open to participating in perhaps some Zoom calls about this directly, because I work best when I have a conversation partner, a Kōrero partner. And I've reached out to Jilly to see if she'll do some of that, but these are some conversations we really need to be having, I think. And I've got access to some Indigenous people that perhaps we can convince to join us in the conversations, but I'm willing to have those separately and then bring into conversation myself, because some of them are very highly resistant, rightly so, of speaking to many of us, and they don't feel like it's their job, and it's not. It's ours. So I welcome and invite anybody into conversation in Korero about these issues, and encourage you to perhaps share this in some groups and get the word out. All right, loving you.